Well, it's good to have you back. Good morning, Anambra. It's the program, and I'm still here with my gorgeous Queen Demba.
Of course, we are still here, and we are back for our discussion time. Okay, evidence is strong that we are exceeding and eroding the Earth's carrying capacity, that there are limits to growth on a finite planet. And then for us to ensure that in meeting our needs for water, for food, shelter, and as well engaging in activities that make our lives enjoyable, we don't cause damage to our environment or deplete resources that we can't renew. And for that, we are here today to talk about how to sustain our environment, talking about environmental sustainability. And to do justice to this particular topic, we have in the house Engineer Chris Ndobisi, consultant on environment matters. You're welcome to Good Morning, Anambra.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good to have you. You're a consultant on environmental matters. How has this job been? How has it been consulting? Do you consult for people, organizations, for countries, or how has it been?
Well, I consult for the World Bank.
Oh, good.
I consult for the Anambra State government.
Okay.
I consult for the FAO.
Okay.
And other organizations.
How has it been?
Well, it's been very exciting and great.
So, would you say that looking at what you've been doing, consulting for the World Bank and Anambra State government, how would you grade the environment job which you've been doing?
Well, the environment job is a very robust one, because when we talk about the environment, people think the environment is all about the area where you live, but it's much more than that.
Okay.
The environment is as much as the food you eat, okay, the water you drink, the air you breathe, the way you live, even the way you play your music, how loud, how soft it is, and in fact, the totality of living. That's what we mean by the environment. That's what the environment is all about. It's not just about getting the place clean. That's not just it. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
All right, talking about environment, do we really need to take care of this environment of ours, or we can just wake up and treat it anyhow we like, provided that it's given to us, like the water we drink, the land where we cultivate, and all that? Do we really need to take care of it?
Of course we do. I mean, there's no gainsaying, because if our forefathers were as careless as we are, we wouldn't be here today.
Okay.
We are very oblivious about our environment in such a way that in the next 100 years, I don't think we'll be existing as well as we're existing now. So we need to be very, very careful what we do so that our posterity can also live after us. So we really need to sustain the environment as much as we can by engaging in practices that enhance environmental protection and sustainability.
Good. So what are those practices? How can we make the environmental sustainability a reality? And can it be measured?
But wait, before we come to that, we want to know the things that we do that endanger our environment before we talk about how we can really sustain it.
Okay. The things we do to endanger the environment are legion. One, let me tell you the greatest evil to the planet now, to the environment, are plastics. We dispose plastics so irresponsibly, and let me tell you, the single-use plastic you discard after a minute you use it takes 1,000 years to biodegrade.
Okay.
And you can imagine in Anambra State we generate close to 130 tons of plastics each day. They end up in landfills, in our oceans, and they remain there for 1,000 years. But these are things we don't know.
Okay.
We need to be able to educate ourselves on things we do so that our environment will get sustained. Another thing is also the way we manage our waste.
Okay.
I think our government is trying to, start a very great awareness on how Anambrians can manage their waste. So I think for now there are less garbage, littered everywhere in the state, because formerly 60% of urban scenery was all about garbage.
Okay. Well, just to let you know that this is it's participatory. You can call us and, of course, join in the discussion and contribute to what we're discussing this morning on environmental sustainability. And, of course, your voice will be heard. Okay, we have a caller. Okay, good. Now, we're still talking about environmental sustainability, and you just mentioned some of the things that have been endangering our environment. Are there other things that do endanger the environment away from plastics you talk about? Are there some other things?
There are also other habits which we do, which we don't know are a danger to the environment. For example, the way we build our houses,
okay,
the way we manage our space, open spaces we have.
Okay.
I mean, the hype now is for people to be rich men to build, and pave the entire space available after the building. It's not a good one at all. Because the more paved surfaces you have, the more runoff you have.
Okay.
And the more runoff you have, the more flooding you're getting, the more garbage the people are dropping into our I know we have this culture. Okay. This our very bad sort of appeal of using our conveyor system, the drainages as refuse dumps. And as these runoff, as they have more runoff, you now have more garbage going to the oceans. So also the way we cultivate.
Yes.
The way we cultivate, the unfriendly method of our cultivation helps.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and location.
My name is Tango.
Please, you need to move away from your TV set.
My name is Tango. I'm calling from Waka.
Engineer Tango, can you please move away from your TV set?
Yes, for our environmental, we mismanage our district. Because sometimes those people that are cooking themselves, they'll be they'll throw medicines along the road. Something like that, all this washing of plate, all these things. So it's not good. And those people that used to do car wash too, they are using to wash all those water. The water will be flowing on the main road. So it's not good. So may government take good look at that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, good morning. All right, I think you need to call us back. All right.
The call actually said something which I think I've also noticed in the boss. I think you talked about we having this culture. I've seen enough people probably when you board the bus, you get to buy some stuffs on the road like the gala water, drinks, and you're done eating it. The next thing is through the window. How is this also affecting the environment?
Well, it's simple. Environmental sustainability begins with you and me. Everybody has to be responsible. You don't need to tell somebody that throwing garbage out of the window is not a good thing.
It is a normal practice.
But it's normal. We just need to retrain our habits. It starts with me and you. So the moment I know and my neighbor knows, it doesn't require, unless we need to start an advocacy. Okay. But when you start that kind of advocacy, there are advocacies that are very expensive. A rational human being should know that the best way to discharge garbage is to discharge responsibly. So somebody trying to insinuate that we should begin advocacy to tell people how to discharge garbage responsibly is not a good one at all.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about pollution, the air pollution. We're talking about gas flaring, and then the smoke that comes out from all those rickety vehicles that moves on the road. Okay. So how does this endanger our environment and also the human beings, we that inhale those things? What kind of effect will it have on us and then the environment? Well,
emissions from vehicles are primarily carbon monoxide.
Yes.
And carbon monoxide is evil. The most cancer problems emanate from carbon monoxide fumes. And our vehicles are so rickety, like you said. There are establishments in government to check and balance some of these vehicles that are not roadworthy. Mm-hmm. And in Anambra State government, I know that government has set up what they call this. We now have what they call these vehicle inspection officers, mm-hmm. and they do a good job. You move 100 meters, you see them everywhere. So you need to have a certificate of credibility that your vehicle is roadworthy. The moment we can stop that, then is getting a long way to cutting short the emissions we have. Mm-hmm. And talk of gas flaring. Gas flaring is something the federal government has kept a blind eye on. Yes. You remember the case of Sarah Wiwa. Sarah Wiwa died fighting for a cause in Ogoni. But the government and these, the federal government and these oil companies, I think they're honeymooning with each other. Because stopping flaring is a very easy thing. They just give the orders and they carry them out. But I don't think the federal government is doing enough to stop gas flaring. Okay. And gas flaring has been the cause of degradation in the Niger Delta. I've been there a couple of times with the World Bank. We were there in 2012. I wept because it has destroyed the entire environment. Because the people in the Niger Delta are mainly fishermen and farmers. Their means of livelihood have been so depleted and impaired that the federal government needs to go there to give them succor, but they're not doing that. So gas flaring is something that is above our personal. Like I said, environmental sustainability is for me and you. But in the case of gas flaring is purely the political will to do that, and they haven't got it yet.
Okay, good. Now let's quickly come to the environment also, cultivation of crops and all this. Now my question is, we know about the biological control, we know about the chemical control, right? The biological control versus the chemical control, past, present and future, which is better?
Biological. Chemical. Look, when I used to be a little boy, there were these insects. I used to know what they call a cricket, abuzu. It's no more. Why? Because chemical treatments on our farms have really sent all these things.
There are some pictures. Yeah.
So you see, all these chemical additives and the treatments have made our farming and our farming to be mostly, they are no longer as sustainable as they used to be 100 years ago. Okay. So I don't think that chemical treatments for farming is a good thing.
That's using of fertilizers and also some chemicals.
Yes.
And then the food that we produce through all those things, I heard that they can also cause cancer.
Yeah, I'm not a medic. I think a man in the medical field should be able to give us correct information. But as an engineer, I know that if you treat seeds with chemicals, there are definitely going to be side effects when they grow, and because we eat them, we also we imbibe in them. So I think, from the view of a quack, I'm not a doctor, So I think chemical treatment is not good enough for the human being. Okay. That's what I think.
All right, now let's also move on. We cannot take away the fact that technology has come to stay. Yeah. Technology is something that has changed our world. I don't know, I could use it positively. It's got some positive, outlook on the world. But can technology modify human behavior in the context of environmental sustainability?
Yes, I think so. A great deal, yes, I think so.
Okay.
Because, the way we lived maybe 100 years ago is no longer the way you're living now.
Okay.
Now, technology, take for instance the cell phone. The cell phone doesn't give a very active life. So because the more active you are, the more waste you're generating.
Okay.
So technology has kind of not in a very large scale, but it has tried to reduce the amount of environmental degradation we're having now. Okay. Now, also, when you think about the way people move about, the cars, the automobiles, they make life easier, and because in the 100 years ago, when there were horses and bicycles and other means of transportation, there wasn't much waste as we're having now. Yeah. However, I wouldn't want to live 100 years ago.
Okay.
Even though technology has been an enemy to the environment, I think they've also done some good to it.
Okay, but then how do we reconcile this? I mean, okay, like for example, deforestation. A lot of people go into the forest to cut woods. They use it to build furniture, and they use it for meaningful things. But yet, it's still endangering our environment. So how do we do it in such a way that when we are using this thing, we are somehow trying to see that we replenish them again, renew them again?
Okay, trees are renewable. There are two sorts of energy: renewable and non-renewable. Okay. Like petroleum is non-renewable. So, like I said, plastics are made out of petroleum, and the more plastics you make, you're depleting petroleum because you're not renewing it. But if you go to the forest to cut one tree, plant two. It's as simple as that. So the more trees we are cutting, the more we are planting. If you keep, because they keep renewing themselves. But the thing is that developers are very ambitious people. Because of infrastructural development, they have to cut trees, and because of the economy is not the economy for the past 50 years, world economy has been declining. So fossil fuels have become popular. People want to cook with wood instead of kerosene and gas. So there's that urge to go cutting.
Okay. And then most times people need to cut to build houses.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like I said, if you cut to build houses, plant some more.
Hey, you probably cut when you plant two, like you said.
You can plant two. You cut one and you want to build a house, erect a house at a particular place. You can plant there again.
I'm saying if you want to build and you cut a tree, go into the forest and you can plant. You can replace the tree in somewhere else, not where you cut it.
Okay. So now, what's he talking
because
about?
Because let me tell you, like for instance, like it takes you. Let me come to the issue of environmental sustainability. Like the paper we use. We use so much paper in this country. You do a print, then you read it and you discard it. You do a print, you paste it on the board, you discard it. We don't think about using the flip side to do something else. And it takes you 10 trees to cut 10 trees to produce a ream of paper. So I think we should start thinking about, because 100 years from now, posterity will find it difficult living on this planet.
Engineer Chris, before we went on that break, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the barriers towards achieving sustainable environment?
The main barrier is in our habits, personal habits. The moment we begin to learn that environment is for us and we have to protect it, changing habits is difficult, but the moment you start to change it, you have very positive results. So I think the only barrier is in the individual who should know exactly what he's doing.
Okay. All right. Apart from us individual, what about the government? Do they have any responsibility towards that?
Well, the government has a responsibility too, because the environment is a part of social services, I should say, social delivery. Now in Anambra State, I think the government is doing well. In Anambra State, I'm talking about Anambra State. I don't know about other states. Now, before now, you notice that our roads have been too bad. The roads that were constructed have been so bad. The discharges have been too badly done. So the roads have all failed. And now the government has now set up a committee that has to look at every design you do to make sure that, and that is the first step the government is doing to protect the environment, because the moment you let roads fail and the runoff is now, not being controlled, you get flooding in the villages, in the homelands. So the government in Anambra State is doing, the much I know, has begun in the process of making sure that our environment is sustained. You can also see the Aswama. They at night at 11 o'clock yesterday, I woke up. Asma was walking around the road to go to Nibo. In fact, Asma walks around the clock. So, and the government also the Ministry of Environment is up and doing. There is a task force. The thing is, you make a pronouncement, then you enforce it. There's an enforcement unit in the Ministry of Environment. You can see them all about, and if you, without being told, your number is cleaner. And being clean, that the environment is clean doesn't mean that it is sustainable. The other things the government is doing behind the curtain, the governor is not somebody who makes too much noise. He works,
All right, now let's talk about.
All right, we have a caller.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Right, now let's talk about erosion menace in Anambra State, particularly. Anambra State is one of the states that is ravaged by erosion, and we're talking about the environment. How do we sustain how do we sustain this, control it in a way that it doesn't keep affecting the environment here in Anambra State?
Yes, I'm very qualified to talk on this topic because I've designed, supervised quite a number of erosion sites in Anambra State. The problem with erosion is that in Anambra is because of the geology. We have a very fragile geology, and because we don't know what our geology is, we try to abuse it as well. the cause of erosion in Anambra State, 70% of the total land in Anambra State is being devastated by erosion.
This was actually the picture where the road was cut into two.
Yes, right. There are a lot of pictures like that. I don't know where this one is. There was one at Nibo. This is Abagana. This is Abagana. That's Abagana. I think the World Bank is in Abagana, working in Abagana now. That's the World Bank. The new map. New map. Anambra State is very concerned with new map. The governor has been, counterpart funding his own parts. And I think 2 months ago, you heard him say there was a 9 billion naira contract that has been awarded to new map. To contractors to control erosion in 4 sites in Anambra. In 4 very serious sites in Anambra. So the government is doing the much they can, but erosion control is so robust that it transcends what the state government can do. So you can see the governor running from pillar to post, going to Abuja to solicit for funds, the World Bank, and his escapades have now started giving results. So I think there are on the table now in the tenders board. I think there are over 15 sites that are being processed for.
But what really causes this erosion? Because that's the problem. When we can actually tackle the cause, then we can control it.
Yes, like I told you, we have a very fragile geology. In like for instance, in Enugu State, Abakaliki, you don't have erosion as we have here. The problem is in our soils. Geotechnical engineers will tell you that our soils are very fragile. They are cohesionless. They are the easiest provocation, they start moving. So we should be able to know how we deal with our soils here. That's the problem. Also, we now exacerbate the problem by using the drainages which we build as dumps for refuse. And in doing that, you're reducing the hydraulic efficiency of the drainage systems. They don't convey stormwater properly anymore. So there's overtopping. And at the overtop, they bring the garbage, and from there, for a little reel, a little sheet, the gully begins. All
right. Are there other, some practices that we, as Anambrarians, we engage in that also, that is also a part of causing this erosion, like excavation of sand and all that?
Yes, I was coming to that. Look, initially, these road contractors, if I had the power, road contractors, I hold them responsible for some of the erosion problems. Now, with the build roads, they go to excavate from borrow pits. When you excavate, it is your duty to go and put back to earth what you've taken away from it. Either you're going to plant it up, because the moment you go to a borrow pit and start excavating, you are disturbing the natural environment. So the little provocation, it starts to move. So and the only way to control that kind of menace is when you're excavating, you plant the place up, because plants have a way. God has naturally made plants with their roots to be able to control earth movement. But in Anambra State, most of the road contractors just go to quarry their sand, they make their profits, they don't put back to the earth what they've taken. And I think right now, there is a mechanism for contractors to quarry sand with the licenses and pay back to the government, so that the Ministry of Environment can now use what you're paying back through the Department of Forestry to start, revegetating the place. Yes.
Well, just yesterday in Abuja, President Buhari declared a state of emergency on the nation's water supply, sanitation and hygiene sector. Now, he said he did this to reduce the high prevalence of waterborne disease and in different parts of the countries, which has caused preventable deaths. What's your take on this?
No, it's a very positive development. But one thing is making a pronouncement. Another thing is enforcing it. We've had Jonathan did the same. Obasanjo did the same. There were a lot of pronouncements about environmental protection. During the World Health Environmental Day, I think it was 2013. There are lots of this climate change stuff. There are lots of proposals by governments around the world. But after that, the thing went into the trash can. Nothing was done. So for President Buhari to have said it, good. We look forward to him to get these things working. It's a very good idea, but the thing is, we make a pronouncement, we try to enforce it and fund it,
and then sustain it,
sustain it.
All right. There was something she actually said earlier on as regards to gas and pollution. Well, and I believe, unfortunately, in Nigeria, there is no realistic statistics on the havoc caused by air pollution. Now, the government should also have it in mind that healthy population translates into a healthy economy. And Section 14, subsection 2B of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution, as amended, states that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of the government. Now, my question is, how well do you think the Nigerian government has fared as regards to the statement in Section 14, subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution?
I don't think they've fared well, in my own assessment. You know, let me come again to that point. You know, there's this thing they call environmental impact assessment. It's been on in Nigeria for the past 20 years or more. You want to carry out a project, you will carry out an assessment, an environmental assessment of its negativity and positivity to the environment. But I can tell you, most of these mega projects have not carried out the EIA. Quite recently, you know, the governor has made pronouncements about EIA. In fact, in Anambra State, before you carry out anything, I'm telling you with authority. I mean, it's not just, you know, blah blah blah. You need to do, even in road construction now, there is in the bill what they call the bill 1. You need to put environmental impact assessment to determine, and it's all about air pollution, because if you are building a road, dust and all that.
Yeah.
So you need to tell the government if it's maybe you're building a road and it's in a highly built up area. You need to tell the government you're going to do your earthworks at night when people are sleeping, not in the day when there's activity. You start hauling a laterite and then dust polluting the whole place. So I think the environmental impact assessment law has been in existence for the past donkey years, but the thing is that they're not enforcing it.
Okay.
They're not enforcing the law. So the government brings out proposals, good proposals. The problem, like I said before, is in the enforcement.
Good. And that brings me to my next question. Now, when we talk about environmental sustainability, is it a reality or a dream? Because when we keep coming and saying the government is always proposing, and nobody is implementing, nobody is enforcing, is this just mere saying? Is it a dream or is it going to be a reality? Well,
I'm not a pessimist. I'm optimistic. I think with time, you know, everything starts, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Okay. So I think that we make mistakes, we keep correcting. Maybe we're not doing it right now, but our children, and I feel that this country, the planet, not just Nigeria, the planet, 200 years from now, people will still believe in this planet. So the people after us will also take over from where we stopped. So we're making mistakes, but because we know that we're making mistakes, we're making attempts to correct them. It doesn't take, Rome was not built in a day. Okay. And the environment is so wide, it's such a wide science that it's not something you can control, you can think. You just wake up like a magician, and then with your wand, the environment becomes a paradise. It's not possible.
No, but you know that some people don't really know that it is important that we take care of our environment. Like some people that are in rural communities. Let's take, for example, most people go to the stream, they wash their clothes there, and all the detergents and everything, it goes into that river. And most of the time, the fishes there are affected. And at the end of the day, they find out, like in the Niger Delta region, you know that fishermen, just like you mentioned earlier, and now when you go to their rivers, you see oil spills, all those things that they get from the river, like the fishes, they are no longer there. So what do we do? How do we educate those people? Tell them, really, we need to take care of our environment, even though we know at some point we can't do all of them, talking about the oil spill in Niger Delta, but when we wash in the stream with the detergent and then we defecate inside the stream and all that, it's not good. So how do we let people know that, I mean, these things are what endangers the environment, and we really need to stop that if we want to sustain our environment for the future generation?
Yeah, look, when you talk about, I'll disagree on one point. Fish thrive on physics, on human. Fish thrive on physics.
Human waste,
okay. Yeah, they do. Like plants, you know, grow very well with manual physics, you know. Like see this soak away stuff. So in some countries, farmers pay for them.
But in the context she's talking about,
I'm coming to her.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, you're talking about fish.
Yeah.
One plastic bag can kill 100 fishes. One, because when the fish eats it and dies, the fish decays, the plastic remains. Another fish takes it for 1,000 years. So the plastic we are using today, in 2400, the plastics will still be on Earth. So we're not talking about the question of defecating in the. Nobody defecates. Excuse me. Nobody defecates in Oka. It's a habit. Like if you go to a place like Ogun, I've been there. They have their toilets. They are aquatic toilets. They build them and then sit in the water and defecate. And the fish you catch there, the fish that hang around that place, they are bigger than you and me. So I don't think they're defecating. But for the sake of hygiene, and when they defecate, they don't drink.
And that's exactly what I was going
to. They don't drink.
Okay.
The word defecate, they don't drink. And meanwhile, water has a way of purifying itself. Water has a way naturally of purifying itself. Water, it goes down to the depths. All the garbage goes down to the depths. So the surface waters are not as polluted as the ones deep down.
So quickly, we'll be going in a moment from now, but my question is, what does the earth ask of us?
Mother Earth loves us. God gave us. The astronauts gave us a beautiful picture of our Earth when they showed us photographs of other planets from space. The Earth was the only bright object in the entire black space. So I think when God gave us the Earth, we should also try and protect it. I think that what the Earth needs from us is for us to be a little bit more friendly with it. Do what we have to do individually and collectively to make sure that the Earth smiles. Because the Earth 2018 Earth Day, the logo was a smiling Earth. So the concept was that from now on, let the Earth smile. The Earth is weeping from what we are doing to it, and God is not happy with it because He gave us a beautiful planet to enjoy.
Now, let the earth smile. I think we should go with that word today. Okay, and if you cut 1 tree, you plant 2.
Yes.
Right, thank you so much. Your last word before we go. Final word on how we can sustain this beautiful environment that God has given us.
It's just simple. Environmental sustainability begins with me and you and the entire citizens. There's nothing else we can do. Just do what is right. And then nature takes care of itself.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Engineer Chris, Indovisi, consultant on environmental matters. Thank you so much for coming to Good Morning Anambra.
Thank you very much.